Hello, hello. Welcome, Adam.
It's another Friday.
Another Friday. I am look at me. Don't even know which way. I meant to go like this. I'm sporting the automatic mouth merch right here.
Oh, I need to do that. I want an automatic mouth t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hook you up, all right? Hook you up.
Yeah. Yes, please.
However, I trust that everyone so far is enjoying the breakdown of the presuppositions of NLP. We've done the first 4 and loved it so far. I'm loving it. I'm learning heaps, so that's brilliant. Bonus. And today we're going to move on and do the next 2. So let's get into it. Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Straight away I get this accent. I'm like, man, sexy ad. I need to be British. All right. So number 5 we're doing today is everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have available. And the side note to this is that behaviour is geared for adaptation, and present behaviour is the best choice available. Every behaviour is motivated by a positive intent. There's a few different things to break down there, isn't it? It's a big group of sentences, and
Yes.
I think
Always
let's
sparks
break
a
them.
massive conversation in the classroom.
It does, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
really it's quite divisive, isn't it? With
Mm.
when you say something like every behavior is motivated by a positive intent, you see
Yes.
some people like sit up a bit straighter, the shoulders go back, like challenge accepted. It's on, bitch. And then we get into it.
100%.
However, so let's talk about the first part of that then. Everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have available.
Mm.
You and I have discussed this again when we've had discussions about parenting and our parents, haven't we? It's
Mm.
a great example
Great
that
example.
it is to be able to move past, those people who don't know our story. Perhaps you'll get a chance to hear some more of Adam's story and my story and later down the track. However, we've both had parents that at times have been quite challenging in our
That's the
life.
word you could use, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? Challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most people can relate that at some point they've had challenging times with their parents. So as an adult, to be able to truly, like with heart, look at your parents and believe that, you know what, they did the best they could with the resources they had at the time. To be able to really say that and release that anger, which I had anger for so many years, Adam.
Mm.
Just how dare you kind of anger.
Yeah.
And this belief, it really helped me see my mother as a woman who was just doing the best she could with how she was brought up and what she had at her, resources she had available to her.
Yeah. I
So,
think it's really important to say resources doesn't mean cash money or there's
point.
it's everything. It's behavior, learned behavior, the
Mm.
ability to buy things. So yes, it does include money, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah. Resources. That's a great point, that resources is so much more, isn't it?
Mm.
It's what are you using to live in every
Yeah.
aspect. Yeah, so I found that was really good. Moving into that second sentence of it is interesting. Behavior is geared for adaptation. So I've written down that we adapt based on the situation or the environment that we're in. So we adapt our behavior based on the situation we're presented with or the environment that we've found ourselves in.
Mm.
And just so an example about that I've used in the class before is there was a woman who had said in the class that there's never an excuse for violence. She would never believe that violence is an answer for anything. And she herself would never behave in a violent manner. She's not a violent person. There's a lot of labels that were happening there. However, then when I asked her, okay, well, if you were just humour me, if you're walking down the street with your child and then, a person tried to snatch your child, what would you do? Would you not resort to violence? Would you stand back and go, well, such is life? She said,
Yeah.
no freaking way. I would be in there fighting with everything I have within me. I will kill a person who tries to hurt my child.
Wow.
And I went, wow, would you consider that violent? And she said, oh, well, yes, but it's a different situation.
Yeah.
So environment here, she was adapting her behaviour, wasn't she? At a very unconscious level.
Yeah, I was going to say unaware that she was doing so, yeah.
Yeah, well, she didn't even sort of consider that at the time as being violent. She believed that violent behaviour is unacceptable in any situation. And then when putting her in an environment mentally, in an environment, unconsciously then, she adapted her belief and therefore her behaviour because it was the best choice available to her at that time, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
So we're all capable of it, eh?
We're all capable of everything. Absolutely. If it's in our innate, where you're predisposed, you've learned that from, like you said, the environment you've been in. So yeah, everything's a learned resource that's been given to us.
Exactly. Yeah, love that. And then the last one of this is every behaviour is motivated by a positive intent.
This is a tough one to explain.
It can be a really bitter pill to swallow.
Because people go straight into, oh, so you're telling me that the guy that killed that 12-year-old kid on the news the other day, there was a positive intent there.
Yes.
I see what you mean, madam.
And because, when you hear something like that, of course, we personalise it, don't we? We think about perhaps something that was done to us or a way a person behaved towards us. And we think, well, I'm supposed to believe that person has a positive intention behind it. And yet this is where language comes into play, doesn't it? Because if you really break that down and look at it from a different perspective, every behaviour is motivated by a positive intent. So we already talked about that the behaviour is quite unconscious. It's coming from an unconscious place. Now, one of the prime jobs of the unconscious mind, its purpose for us, is to run the body and preserve the body. So if your body and mind then believes it needs something in order to survive, then the unconscious mind will create a situation where the behaviour will get you that thing, whatever it is that you need. So the positive intent, when we talk about positive intent, it's for that human person.
Yeah.
The intention is positive, meaning the mind thinks they need something for them. They need it to survive. So that is a positive intention,
Yeah. Whether it's negatively felt on the other side is a whole other kettle of fish.
Exactly. How the negative behaviour, how that's perceived is another conversation entirely.
Yeah.
What this is pointing out is that the intention of the person who's displaying the behaviour, the intention actually comes from a positive place within them to serve what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. You explained it beautifully, darling.
Stop. Thank you. Taking it away from, a negative thing like we were talking about and putting it just into another example, when you look at someone perhaps who, let's take someone who bullies, a bully. That's a negative behaviour. I think everyone would agree. no one likes a bully. It's a negative behaviour. We don't like it. However, that bully, perhaps underneath it, when you care to dig, has a positive intention because, when you ask someone, well, what's the purpose of that? What's the reason that you are, I don't know, teasing that person?
Yeah.
When you get down to it, you're going to find it's something like, I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to exist. I want to feel. Something deep within them, a core need, has been left out or is
Yeah.
not being nurtured. And so because of the environment perhaps that they have grown up in or that they exist in, the only way they know how to get a glimpse of that feeling of being seen is to bully, and they
Yeah.
get seen.
Get attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So see how the intention is positive though. They're craving something. They just don't have adequate resources to get and fill that hole in a more positive way.
Absolutely.
Was that a mic drop moment? I feel like it was.
Was a full mic drop moment. You tied it all together like a seamstress.
Oh gosh, Adam, you're just dripping the honey today, aren't
I
you?
know.
Love it, love it. All right. So are we happy? Are we happy with number 5? Do you want to move on to number 6?
I'm happy with that. Sounds beautiful.
Brilliant. So number 6 is calibrate on behaviour. The most important information about a person is that person's behaviour. Now, this one did get me in knots a little bit at first when I first started learning about this, because I thought, well, hang on, we just talked about the people are not their behaviour. So how is it the most important thing about them then? If they're not their behaviour, how? I don't understand. And so I got myself into a little pretzel. See, there's that accent, a little pretzel
Comes out.
over this one. Not so much on the calibrating on behaviour, but the second part, the most important information about a person is that person's behaviour. What's your thoughts on that, Adam? How do you want to unravel that?
Well, I mean, you need to observe the other person's behaviour because, NLP is a communication model, right? So understanding the other person's behaviour to start with is, how am I going to approach this person? You wouldn't go running up to someone who's jumping up and down the street going, oh my God, I've lost my keys. You wouldn't go, hi, can I just talk to you about, they're going to, well, it's not the right time. So calibrating on the behaviour initially is okay, helps you, how am I going to deal with it? And then just remembering that the behaviour is the outcome. It's the learned thing, in response to a similar situation, a fearful situation, a happy situation, or, a naughty situation. I mean, it could be, all of that stuff,
Yeah.
think, and then take it from there, my love.
I was actually, as you were talking, I'm thinking calibrate on behaviour. Could I simply say it's reading the room?
Reading the room, yes.
So,
Absolutely.
and I mean, you can use that saying, can't you? Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a whole room, but I mean, I've seen it used in jest when it's even just a conversation with two people and one person says something and the response is by the other person is, oh my God, read the room, would you?
Yeah.
You've clearly
I've
not
walked
picked
into
up
a
on my
few rooms.
signals.
Yeah, exactly. Or I walked into a few rooms and just not considered it at all and been like, oops.
Not reading
Okay.
the room. So I feel like that's a simplified version of calibrating on behaviour. Is read the room, calibrate on, really, again, that pause, isn't it? It's learning that taking a breath before launching at someone when you're communicating can teach you so much, because you have that moment, don't you, to calibrate, to read that person's room.
Yeah,
And
decide.
find out.
Are you gonna approach them now or later, or all that stuff. I had a coaching client. She messaged me going, "Oh, my husband called me an idiot," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Okay, well," because she was asking him some questions about things that he was responsible for. Let's say,
Yeah.
as wives generally are not kept in the picture by the husband on these points, right? So she just went. I said, "I'm guessing you kind of just went straight in and just asked him. You didn't butter it up first. You didn't build rapport first. You didn't take time to kind of disarm his angry demeanor, because that's what she'd been complaining about." And she was like, "Oh yeah, oops." And I was like, so moral of the story is, prepare the situation, read the room,
Yeah.
calibrate. Because if you poke the bear right when he's angry, you're going to get bitten.
Yes, I love that. So go
Mm.
straight for the jugular, then don't be surprised. You know,
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
yeah, so that makes so much sense to me. And if we overlay that on what we just spoke about before, about that behavior is motivated by a positive intent, that their present behavior is the best choice they feel available to them. So if
Mm.
you're calibrating on behavior and you feel that behavior is, it seems, out of sync or out of whack for what's going on, perhaps being a bit more curious about, wow, so that behavior, what is it that has them in such a mindset that they feel that's their best choice?
Yes.
What resources are lacking? Where are they at? That this is what they feel their only choice. This is their best choice in this situation.
Mm.
Because it's so unconscious, and the behavior, like you said, is actually just the outcome.
Yeah, they don't realize they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
They really don't.
So, and that can be a really good sign then when you're talking about calibrating on that, that then if in the same situation they behave differently, it's a good indication then that something's changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we use
Which
that.
ultimately gives you, the person doing the observing, a real big chance to just look at everything different. All these presuppositions, they are people say the basic things to learn. I'd say they're probably the most important, because it's a real entire roadmap of a way to step back out of the situation and make self-directed and chosen communication to have a better
Yeah.
existence across the board. That's what I love about
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, same. I would see the presuppositions as being like the scaffolding, of a house or a building. This is what's going to hold everything together. This is what gives it shape.
Mm,
This is the design. Everything else you learn and all the other tools involved in NLP, that's all you know, that's some brickwork, and it's some interior design, and it's all the
mm,
other lovely stuff that you put together. The
yeah,
presuppositions, though, that's your scaffolding. That's going to give it shape. Everything you do,
give it
shape it
some
with this.
curves. Mm.
I love it. Yeah, it's nice. I
Yay.
love it. I love it. The other thing I want to mention for anyone listening who is a coach, or works with helping in the helping fields,
Mm,
is calibrating on behavior is a great way to um, just keep a personal eye, I suppose, on how someone is progressing through through their journey, through their healing, whatever word you'd like to use.
good point.
So, as a coach and a trainer, or mainly as a coach, I'd say I might start the sessions talking to my client and watching their behavior responses when they're talking about a person or an event or a problem. What's their behavior like around it, as well
Mm,
as other things like their language and tone and all those sorts of things. And then once you've done some work with them and they've done a lot of work themselves, calibrate, do a check, just bring it up and say, hey, by the way, I'm curious, before you were really upset about XYZ. I'm just wondering how you feel about that now. Bring
yeah.
it up and watch their behavior. Do they straight away respond and tense up and raise their voice and still?
Yeah.
Or have they softened, or do they laugh about it, or what's the difference? And so that's what it means by calibrating.
Have they been able to change, or are
Yeah,
they still stood where you left them?
exactly, because that behavior outcome is going to be a reflection or indicative of what's happened at the unconscious level in
Yes.
regards to their beliefs about that problem.
Yeah.
So the behavior is going to be the indicator for you on whether there has been change or not. Anyone can give you lip service, can't they? However,
Absolutely.
behavior will tell you really what's going on, I think.
Yeah. That's the truth.
I just
Yeah.
answered my own question about, I just don't understand this one. People
You were just
look at me.
sending everybody off on a tangent. You knew all
That,
along.
that doesn't sound like me at all.
Not one bit. No.
All right, brilliant. So I'm happy to wrap this episode up.
Yes.
It's been a great 20 minutes. I've absolutely loved it.
I know.
And
It
I
felt
feel like
much longer.
it's been brilliant. Yeah. So we will be back next week. And what are we going to talk about? So we did 5 and 6. We're going to do, this is a great one, number 7, which
Map is not there.
confuses people regularly, I find. Yes, the map is not the
Map is not
territory.
the territory. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun.
I
So,
love a mind bend on a Friday.
yes, right? Something to just ponder over for the weekend.
Mm.
So we'll do the map is not the territory. And then we're also going to talk about if you are in charge of your mind, then that means you are also in charge of your results.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
that's
kid.
sorry, not sorry.
Sorry.
So we're going to tackle those two next week. It's going to be fun, informative, and probably swear words.
Okay, we'll put more swear words in next time. It's been
All right, Adam.
Okay, have a lovely
Been a
weekend,
pleasure.
everyone. Always.
Much love. Bye.